Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On 15th of August, Prime Minister Narendra Modi outlined his 5 Pran targets as India marched towards its 75th year of independence. One of them was to erase all vestiges of colonial slavery. Today's small step is a giant leap towards fulfilling his promise to India. What you see are visuals of what the Rajpath used to look like earlier and how it stands today, renamed and revamped as Kartavya Path. The glory and majesty of India, where our rich history walks hand in hand with our aspirations for the future. Where once the statue of King George stood, today Netaji's towering statue has been unveiled. The Prince of Patriots finally gets his due. The dirt paths of Rajpath have been replaced by red granite walkways, refurbished canals and polished facades. There aren't just changes in names or structures. This symbolizes India's taking pride in its own history. As the Prime Minister said during the unveiling of the Central Vista today, this is neither the beginning nor the end. This is a Sankalp Yatra. Remember, this was an ambitious project, envisioned, conceived and finally executed by Prime Minister Modi. He objected to Rajpath since he felt his Kartavya was to serve the people, not rule them. Let's remind you how, on assuming office in 2014, he had called himself the Pradhan Sevak. Listen in.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आज देश और दुनिया में फैले हुए सभी हिंदुस्तानी आजादी का पर्व मना रहे हैं। इस आजादी के पावन पर्व पर प्यारे देशवासियों को भारत के प्रधान सेवक की अनेक अनेक शुभकामनाएं। मैं आपके बीच प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में नहीं, प्रधान सेवक के रूप में उपस्थित हूं।
Today he fulfills his promise to put people above power of the rulers. As he inaugurated the Central Vista Avenue, the Prime Minister said it's neither the beginning nor the end. This is India embarking on its Sankalp Yatra. And this is the message he wants to stay with the people.
आज अगर जॉर्ज पंचम की मूर्ति के निशान को हटाकर नेताजी की मूर्ति लगी है, तो ये गुलामी की मानसिकता के परित्याग का पहला उदाहरण नहीं है। ये न शुरुआत है न अंत है। ये मन और मानस की आजादी का लक्ष्य हासिल करने तक निरंतर चलने वाली संकल्प यात्रा है। देश के प्रधानमंत्री जहां रहते आए हैं, उस जगह का नाम रेसकोर्स रोड से बदलकर लोक कल्याण मार्ग हो चुका है। हमारे गणतंत्र दिवस समारोह में अब भारतीय वाद्य यंत्रों की भी गूंज सुनाई देती है। बीटिंग द रिट्रीट सेरेमनी में अब देशभक्ति से सरोबार गीतों को सुनकर हर भारतीय आनंद से भर जाता है। अभी हाल ही में भारतीय नौसेना ने भी गुलामी के निशान को उतारकर छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज के प्रतीक को धारण कर लिया है। नेशनल वॉर मेमोरियल बनाकर देश ने समस्त देशवासियों की बरसों पुरानी इच्छा को भी पूरा किया है। आज देश अंग्रेजों के जमाने से चले आ रहे सैकड़ों कानूनों को बदल चुका है। भारतीय बजट जो इतने दशकों से ब्रिटिश संसद के समय का अनुसरण कर रहा था, उसका समय और तारीख भी बदल गई है। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के जरिए अब विदेशी भाषा की मजबूरी से भी देश के युवाओं को आजाद किया जा रहा है। यानी आज देश का विचार और देश का व्यवहार दोनों गुलामी की मानसिकता से मुक्त हो रहे हैं। ये मुक्ति हमें विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य तक लेकर के जाएगी।
Today, as India overthrows the last symbols of colonial slavery, there are some in the opposition who continue to fume and froth. They ask, merely renaming Rajpath as Kartavya Path doesn't mean the Prime Minister has fulfilled his duty to the nation. Listen in to the opposition voices.
राजपथ का नाम कर्तव्य पथ तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने रख दिया, अच्छी बात है, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ये बताए कर्तव्य पथ पे चलना कब सीखेगी? चलना तो सीखो प्रभु कम से कम।
ये तब रख सकती है बीजेपी की सरकार जब कर्तव्य पूरा कर रहे हो। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार को विचार करना चाहिए कि आप कर्तव्य पूरा कर रहे हैं, जिसलिए जनता ने चुना था वो काम कर रहे हैं, जो वादे आपने किए थे वो काम कर रहे हैं। बेरोजगारी है, महंगाई है, आर्थिक स्थिति है, डीजल पेट्रोल की कीमत है, कानूनी व्यवस्था है। क्या आपने ये सब कुछ कर लिया? अगर ये कर ले तब आपको हक है कि कर्तव्य पथ उसका नाम रखें। आपका तो कर्तव्य से कोई वास्ता ही नहीं है।
The legitimate question on the NewsHour that we are asking tonight, is this just a name change or is this a narrative change? That's the question and that's the debate. India on Kartavya Path, that's the hashtag and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the NewsHour at 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawala, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Shantanu Sen, MP and in the Rajya Sabha and spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress, Karthik Reddy, spokesperson of the TRS, Sanjay Jha, author and suspended leader of the Congress party, Suhel Seth, author and columnist. But my first question goes to Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, scientist and professor. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, I want to begin with you. How do you feel as an Indian today? Because before the politics, I want to ask you, is this just a name change? Is this just bringing in a statue of Subhas Chandra Bose to carry forward a political ideology or putting forward a political idea? Or do you think this is the beginning of a change in narrative and the thought process of a country that so far has just been stuck in a status quo mode with the colonial hangover?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my fellow co-panelists. Navika, you asked me a question, how do I feel? Let me answer it. I feel both proud and perplexed at the same time. Now, please give me a couple of minutes to explain why is that. The first issue, why I feel proud. Navika, there's no doubt about it. The central vista, as I see it, looks even more appealing than it did before. And a large part of this has to do with the fact that we have our beloved Netaji Subhash Bose looking over the proceedings. It has taken 75 years. I can't believe it. It has taken 75 years for a nation to honor one of its bravest, if not the bravest modern Indian. Let me be clear. We did not win independence because the Sabarmati ka Sant delivered it to us without sword or shield. We won it because Netaji and his Aane sent shivers down the spines of those Brits, who anyway were petrified by the naval mutiny and besides were exhausted and bankrupt because of World War II. And frankly, it is painful that everything that Modi does or proposes has to be opposed by the Congress and the left. This is especially so because of their objection to honor Netaji. Yaar, ispe kya problem hai? But then it doesn't surprise me anymore. Let me give you just 4 facts quickly that will expose these irrational dynasty doormat dunderheads. Number 1, did you know that the communists have always sneered at Netaji Subhas meeting Hitler, even though they eulogize Mao, who killed 63 million of his own people? Did Netaji meet Hitler? Yes. But did he also condemn the atrocities committed on the Jews? Yes. Fact is, he was so singularly tormented and obsessed with India fighting for its freedom that nothing else mattered. The end justified the means. Number two, and while Netaji was fighting for our freedom, the founder of the Communist Party of India, one Mr. Dange, was writing groveling mercy petitions to the British to release him from jail, saying he swears allegiance to the king. 3. Did you know that the Congress and Nehru snooped on Netaji and his family for 2 decades, even after independence? What can be more treacherous than that? Now for the most cruel and devastating fact, Navika. 4. Did you know that the first time the Indian National Army veterans were asked to take part in the Republic Day parade was in 2019. In 2019 under Modi was the first time. This is how these people have respected Netaji and his amazing army and their contribution to our nation. And now they have the temerity to object to the nation honoring him like the way it is. Left to them, they will bring back the statue of King George from Coronation Park and place it back under the canopy in front of India. And Navika, now the second thing, perplexed. Let me be very straight. It is all very well that the Prime Minister has very beautifully, I must say, encapsulated how we are getting rid of the colonial legacy. He gave 5 or 6 examples. But I ask this straight up. The biggest, most torturous colonial legacy that there can ever be, that those people who killed 35 million of us, manufactured 12 devastating famines, left our life expectancy rate at 32 years, looted 45 trillion from us. Those very people constituted a Commonwealth, and India is still a member of the Commonwealth. What can be more humiliating and a mark of colonial legacy? So I ask this question to Prime Minister or his representatives. If you want to get rid of something, this should be the first thing to get rid of, that India gracefully moves away from the Commonwealth.
All right. But let's go back before I get that answer from Shehzad Poonawala. I want to go back to the issue of Dr. Subhas Chandra Bose and what really took so long in our country honoring him, where he has been honored today right in the middle of this avenue and under the grand canopy at India Gate. And listen in to what Mamata Banerjee, Chief Minister of West Bengal, had to say on the issue of her being invited for this proceedings, and her point was that she got the invite just too late. Listen in to Mamata Banerjee.
रही बात नेताजी सुभाष बाबू की, कैनोपी के अंदर उनको मत रखिए, कैनोपी के अंदर उनका होना असहज करता है।
আমাকে একটা চিঠি দিয়েছে পরশুদিন। কে দিয়েছে? লিখেছেন একটা আন্ডার সেক্রেটারি সম্ভবত লেভেলের, লিখে বলছে প্রাইম মিনিস্টার 7 বাজে ইনাগুরেট করবে, তোমাকে 6 বাজে ওখানে উপস্থিত থাকতে বলছে, যেন চাকর বাকর, আমি বন্ডেড লেবার, সেজন্য 7টার সময় দাঁড়িয়ে থাকবো না আমি ওখানে, আমি আগেই 2টোর সময় আমি এখানে আসবার আগে 1টার সময় নেতাজি সুভাষ চন্দ্র বোসের মূর্তিতে আবার নতুন করে মালা দিয়ে এলাম।
I want to ask you, Dr. Shantanu Sen. Dr. Shantanu Sen, you know, we have our political differences. We have several issues with each other. It's all fine. It's in the realm of politics as it happens day to day. But on occasions like this, do we have to continue to hold on to our ego above the ego of Subhas Chandra Bose?
Navika, whose ego you are talking about? If you are talking about the ego of our learned Prime Minister, allies publicity master, it's fine. And if you are talking about the ego of Madam Mamata Banerjee, absolutely you are on the wrong track. Let me cite you some example. Our learned Prime Minister, allies publicity master, was supposed to unveil the statue of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose on 15th of August. But just to get the political mileage, he used his iconic character for his political publicity. And when entire people were suffering from COVID, when dead bodies were floating on the river, they spent 20,000 crore for his own interest And on the same day when he was inaugurating the central Vista, by renaming the road, he used the Netaji, the historical icon, for his political publicity. What did Modi ji do for Subhas Chandra Bose? Could he even declare his birthday as a national holiday? Could he even declare, unearth the 39 files? Mamata Banerjee started unveiling the files in West Bengal first. What did Narendra Modi do for to pay homage, to respect to this national icon? Could he even invite the relatives of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, who was still alive in this world, properly? Can you ever think of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose minus West Bengal? Could he even invite Mamata Banerjee, the third-term Chief Minister of West Bengal, in a proper way? What could he do? You tell me, when this hologram was not functioning, it is the Trinamool Congress MPs who went for the dharna. Do you think the hologram was functioning properly in a proper way? What did he do? He only changed his number law. Center didn't allow this Bangla's tableau, West Bengal's tableau on Netaji, on this parade held on 26 January on this Republic Day. Can you justify this? Can you simply justify this? So once again, it is nothing but a political jugglery, and our learned publicity master, just to gain his political mileage, he has indirectly insulted this historical icon, Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose. This is crystal clear what he has done today.
Shehzad Poonawalla, everything comes down to the controversy. Why did you inaugurate? Why was the Bhumi Pujan in the middle of COVID? Why was money spent? Why do you do this? Nobody is getting the vision that the Prime Minister had for this. The vision that started in 2014 is midway somewhere today and has to go towards the G20, which India will be hosting next year. Do you think, Shehzad Poonawalla, the criticism is really with substance?
You know, today I am a little more perplexed than even Anand Ranganathan is on the panel. I did not expect that there would be two sides on tonight's debate. I thought for once, at least on Navika's show, we will all be on the same side saying what a great move that today Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose's massive statue, massive pratima has been unveiled on Kartavya Path, because surely you could not have a statue of Netaji on George's Rajpath, an ideology that he opposed and fought against for his entire life. But today what we see is that those who continue to walk on the path of Ghulami Path and Parivar Path are opposing the fact that we have renamed Rajpath to Kartavya Path. Now I'll tell you why this has been done. Let me explain the principle of the Prime Minister. Rajpath represents, and it stinks of Ghulami, it stinks of arrogance of power, and Raj is done by a handful of people, not by all. Whereas Kartavya or duty is something that every citizen has to follow and has to abide by, whether you're a Prime Minister or whether you're a common citizen. And therefore, today this road, which was actually Kuch Ka Path, has become Sab Ka Path. It has been nationalized and it has been Indianized. And in fact, I think that today when Congress and Trinamool Congress, they oppose this, look at the irony and the hypocrisy ka path. The same Sonia Gandhi, and I have great regard for her, she used to be called Antonia Maino. She Indianized herself to Sonia Gandhi, and the Congress people cheered for it. But today when Rajpath has been Indianized to Kartavya Path, the same people oppose it. Sanjay, my good friend, is from Mumbai. He would know that it was the Congress government that changed the name of Victoria Terminus to Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. But today the Congress party, I don't know why, they continue to celebrate these symbols and vestiges of colonialism, of Videshi mindset, of Akranta mindset. When Aurangzeb Road is changed to APJ Abdul Kalam Road, this ecosystem opposes it. When the George's Cross is removed from the naval ensign and Maharaj Chhatrapati Shivaji's Nishan is invoked in it, is inspiring it, they do not celebrate it. They have a problem with that. When Abide By Me is replaced by Mere Watan Ke Logo, a Christian hymn, is replaced by a song that captures the sentiment of India, to which even our former Prime Minister was crying when he heard that song, they have a problem with that. Why is it today that the Congress party particularly, which hasn't been able to, I would say, nationalize and Indianize itself, has a problem when Rajpath has been converted to Kartavya Path? Now, as far as Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose is concerned, look at the Trinamool Congress. This party was in power with Congress party, which spied on Netaji for 2 decades. This party was in power with Congress party, which for 10 years did not declare anything on the files of Netaji, nor did it declare Netaji's birthday or celebrate it in the manner it should have been given. In fact, even Mamata Banerjee, despite being Chief Minister for so many years, she never ever, as the Chief Minister of Bengal, except for this one, before the elections, declared Netaji's birthday as a day that should be celebrated with significance. So these are people who have always betrayed the legacy of Netaji. Who renamed the islands of Andaman Nicobar after Netaji? Please tell me that. Who declassified the files of Netaji? So this is not a debate about Netaji. This is a debate about why some political parties continue to have the mindset of slavery, and the reason for that is only and only the fact that they have not stopped walking the path of Ghulami.
Well, I want to ask you, Dr. Shantanu Sen, do you want to rebut any of the facts that Shehzad Poonawalla has made?
Can I clarify something?
Navika, I will take just 1 minute, kindly allow me. First of all, 39 files are yet to be declassified by Narendra Modi ji. Number 2,
says the person who did not get governments to declassify even one.
His own name. And the way he is renaming everything. I wonder if Modi ji continues, someday will come when we will be knowing our country is not as Bharat Bars. We might be knowing our country as Modi Bars. So far this Ghulami is concerned, I am not ready to learn from the BJP who used to worship Savarkar, who surrendered before British Raj.
Just give me a 5
and they are
seconds.
talking about Ghulami Raj. And so far this Parivartantra is concerned, couple of ministers were sitting in today's program who are already involved in this Parivartan, in this ancestry. If you allow, I can cite you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I am not ready to learn anything from this BJP party.
Sir, you are not ready to learn anything from the people of India also. By the way, you were in alliance with a party which never made a memorial for all prime ministers but made a memorial for Nehru. They made a memorial for Indira, and that was okay to you. But today when the prime minister has made a memorial for all prime ministers of this country, celebrating the contribution of every prime minister that India has seen, that for you is Vyaktivad. But those who made Nehru memorial and those who made Indira memorial, never a prime ministerial memorial, never a Netaji memorial, never a Sardar Patel memorial, are today the ones you want to ally yourself with. That shows your hypocrisy.
That's the point. That's the point, Sanjay Jha, and I'm coming to you, Suhel Seth. Sanjay Jha, that is the point. When there is a museum on prime ministers made, it is for all prime minister. When there is a Rajpath, which really was the walkway for the kings, and that was the road to the king's, Rashtrapati Bhavan, what is today has been called the Kartavya Path. And it's not just a change in name, it's a shift in the narrative, it's the shift in the thought process of this country. How can you deny, Sanjay Jha, that the Congress party has always lived with an overhang of the Nehru-Gandhi Parivar and dynasty legacy rather than thinking about India? It's always been a status quoist party, and today you're insecure simply because all those paradigms are being changed 360 degrees and people are beginning to look and think differently, and that's what gives you a lot of insecurity.
Okay, Navika, this is a very important debate, and I think your viewers need to know all sides of the fence, the story. I'll try and answer you very quickly. Number one, I almost laughed when I heard Prime Minister Modi talk about removal of the colonial legacy. The truth is that today, the one colonial legacy that Mr. Modi's government has actually made it into a fine art and continues to be part of our political DNA is the politics of divide and rule. And that is what the British did in India. That is what Mr. Narendra Modi's government is doing in our country today, which is why the Congress, I think, is correctly doing a Bharat Jodo Yatra. And we all know it's an account of social polarization. Number one. Number two, why is it that the BJP would make a statue of unity for Sardar Patel, who banned the RSS and who's on record to say the RSS created a climate of fear that led to Gandhiji's assassination? Why is it that today they are putting up Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, in my opinion, probably the greatest freedom fighter of our time? No debate on that. I think he's a hero. You know, his entire contribution has been immense. Why is the BJP doing it though? I'll tell you why. It's odd, and your viewers should know. because Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose was against the Hindutva ideology that Mr. Modi swears by. Why is it that today the BJP is celebrating Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose? And it's very obvious their political game plan, because Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose was against the members of the Congress being members of the Hindu Mahasabha, of which Vinayak Damodar Savarkar was the head. And we all know Hindu Mahasabha assassinated Mahatma Gandhi. So it is pretty obvious the political hypocrisy of the BJP. Now let me tell you the critical point. You know, Anand Ranganathan in his hyperventilation has made another massive monumental embarrassment for himself. He says that the Congress government spied on Netaji Subhash Chandra. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Ranganathan, I can't see you on my screen, but I assume that you are there. You know what you're doing, Anand? You have insulted the following tall leaders of this country: Sardar Patel, Govind Vallabh Pant. 1 minute, hear me out. Don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. Govind Vallabh Pant.
Well, I didn't take a name. So don't get personal here.
Yeah. Raja Gopalachari.
Don't get personal, Sanjay, because I can be very ruthless as well.
Hello. Oh, buddy, you get pretty nasty.
I'm
just being
unfaring.
Anyway, don't interrupt me.
If there is one thing you know about me,
let me finish.
I'm unfaring.
So don't get personal. You have insulted Netaji.
I am telling the facts.
I
that Nehru's directly snooped on Netaji.
Hello, friend.
This is the way you whitewash history. This is the way Congress has whitewashed history right from Nehru to Indira Gandhi to Sonia Gandhi. And you are one of thousands of dynasty lapdogs. You wanted me to get personal as well.
Navika, will you stop him? Because he's not letting me speak.
If you cannot
one at a time, gentlemen. One at a time. Let Sanjay Jha complete his point, and I will give you time to rebut Anand Ranganathan. If I don't get shot by Suhel Seth, I will give you time to rebut. Let Sanjay Jha at least complete his criticism of you, and then you can rebut him.
Yeah. Let me tell you, the spying, if any intelligence bureau spying would have been done, they would have been done by the Home Ministry. And these are the illustrious Home Ministers of our time: Sardar Patel, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Govind Vallabh Pant, C. Raja Gopalachari, Yashwantrao Chavan. Is the gentleman here alluding that all these people were anti-national and they actually had a malicious agenda to defame the great Netaji and his family?
And if I don't know, if you want us to believe that prime ministers didn't do anything and only home ministers, with their permission, these things were done, then you think we are far more green behind our ears than we actually are, Sanjay Jha. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, your turn to rebut.
Yeah, no, it is a fruitless. Now, Sanjay, please be quiet. Do be quiet. Shush. Now, be quiet, Sanjay. Sanjay, you asked for it and you're going to get it. Navika, the last time Sanjay Jha made sense was in the 60s. He is talking about the responsibility for snooping, not landing at the doorstep of the Prime Minister of India. Sardar Patel died in 1950, if I am not mistaken. Nehru died in 1964. The snooping continued till the 60s. So he is now saying that the Home Minister is responsible, but the Prime Minister had no idea. So he means to say that every responsibility is of Amit Shah, but none lands at the doorstep of Modi, whom he criticizes day and night. Ye kahan se aa jate hain? Honestly, I think for the first time I'm saying it is possibly for the good that Sanjay Jha has been suspended from the Congress. Thodi sense bachi hai abhi Congress mein. Now, can I please say something which I wanted to say? With your permission, because my time is very precious and they take it away in addressing inanities. Can I please get 30 seconds?
If it's 30 seconds.
Yes, it will only be 30 seconds because I want to come clean. Navika, 3 days ago, on the same topic of Kartavya Path versus Rajpath, I must say I was very obstinate. I said it is a neutral for neutral change. First, the BJP should change all the other colonial names like the Governor Generals like Dalhousie and Irwin and all those Chelmsford that are still there, the roads there. In fact, Aurangzeb Lane, then come to Rajpath. I take my words back and apologize because the way Shahzad has put it, it would have been so odd to have our greatest freedom fighter, Netaji, looking over something that is a direct translation of Kingsway camp. So I just want to say this. I think it is a good decision once we have Netaji there looking over the proceedings that we have Rajpath transformed to Kartavya Path.
Well, Suhel Seth, I want to ask you, everybody, even today, is stuck in their political agenda, and nobody wants to even acknowledge, appreciate the changes that have taken place. And I want to ask you, Suhel Seth, are we just as people in our DNA to quibble, to fight, to find fault with each other, or is this just a political trait because politics must go on regardless of the giant leaps the country is making?
You know, first, when you have luminaries on debates like this, you reduce the number of panelists because, the debate turns, to my mind, nasty and vicious for whatever reason. I want to make a couple of points. The problem with India is we have become petty about everything. We lack grace. We lack grace in acknowledging what people have done. We lack grace even acknowledging the contribution of people other than Netaji. You know, I have a lot of respect and time for people, but we have become competitive so much so that we are making dead political leaders of our country compete for our attention and our acclaim. To my mind, that is stupid. Let me tell you what are the good things that have happened today. I don't want to get into this unseemly exercise with Sanjay Jha and, poor Anand and poor Sanjay. Actually, both of them got dragged into. I want to stay away from that. I want to make 4 points. Number one, it's a great day for India. Not about whether Netaji has finally been recognized, not recognized. That is obviously part of the process. What is important is that Indians have finally got a course correction and checks on their historical legacy. That was important and that was needed. Number two, a lot of people were very, very circumspect and cynical about what the central Vista would look like. I'm delighted from the pictures and the visuals that I'm seeing. It's a place for people to congregate. It's a place for people to celebrate. And we're celebrating India and Indianness. I'm not even getting into whether Sardar Patel was a better leader than, person X or person Y. That's a debate for political parties and their spokespeople to indulge in. The third, look at what Modi did today. He actually created a bottom-up inspirational ladder. When you meet the people who have been part of building and revitalizing the Central Vista, the Shramjeevis as he calls them, that to my mind is integration of the people of India. A celebration of their hard work, a celebration of what they, a lot of people, and Navika, you are aware of it, there were court cases because a lot of people filed PILs during COVID times saying workers are, working on Central Vista, defying COVID norms. It's another matter, it was thrown out by the courts, but it was a celebration. The fourth point, and that's important, is I think the Prime Minister would be better off, and, no one is there to advise him. I think the time now to say that successive governments ignored Netaji, that time is over. That's done. History is a country with no citizens. Now we need to look forward. And what he said today was very important. What he said was, we now need to reclaim our legacy, which was not given to us in either historical, anecdotal referencing or in terms of our textbooks. So he, to my mind, when he talks about beating retreat, when he talks about the ensign of the Indian Navy changing, those are signs about India reclaiming its rightful place in the comedy of nations and its rightful history. Whether persons in the past have done something wrong or not, the more you discuss it, you take away from the beauty, from the grandeur, and from the course correctness that we've seen today. And to my mind, today is a celebration for every Indian. It's a celebration of Indian history, and it's a celebration of Indianness.
Absolutely, but I disagree with you on one point, because there is a context to the Prime Minister raising this issue, and the context is the 75th year of India's independence. And this is the year when we are talking about history, we are talking about changes, we are talking about the road ahead. This is the beginning of the Amrit Kal. So Karthik Reddy, I want to ask you, at least today, will you acknowledge, if not appreciate, the fact that we have turned a leaf, and we have turned a leaf of our history books for the better?
No, you can't. No, 1 minute. Prime Minister Modi has always
Navika ji, good evening.
Neglect of Netaji. I'm saying today what he said.
Am I hearing somebody else, or is it an echo of mine?
Got your point, Suhel. Kartik Reddy coming in.
Yes, Navika ji, good evening. We welcome today's inauguration of Kartavya Path. Rajpath has been rechristened as Kartavya Path. We should welcome this move. And it is also a proud moment for the nation that we finally see Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose bust, life-size bust, which would be put in Kartavya Path. This is a proud moment for every Indian. We should all take it in that stand itself. But Navika ji, we have not issues, if I may. There are 2 points which I like to make. The direct question which I have for the BJP and the central government is the cultural renaissance responsibility of this country only on the BJP, or the states have some role in it? The reason why we say this is, Telangana, after it was formed, and most of the people who are well versed with the history of Telangana, we were under the regime of Andhra leaders for a long time, and we had a very great battle in attaining our own statehood, and we are very prideful in that aspect. After the state of Telangana was formed, even Telangana had to go through its own cultural renaissance. And in that course, our Chief Minister KCR Garu has redone our secretariat, have redone our camp office, CM official residence, and also redone the great Yadgirigutta temple, which we proudly call itself Yadadri. The reason why I'm pointing this out, Navika, is when the Prime Minister does anything as what it was done today, Kartavya Path and Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose statue unveiling, we take it in great strand, and we proudly say that we are very happy about it. Why doesn't the BJP state unit in Telangana have a reciprocal attitude? Is this cultural renaissance just the responsibility of the BJP?
Fair question, Shehzad Poonawala, respond.
The states
Firstly,
and parties like us?
I got your
question. May I
question.
finish this, Navika? No,
I got your question. Can I address this question? Can I address it?
Finish this, Shehzad, please.
No, he's answering your question. He's answering your question, Kartik Reddy. If there is a second one, we'll come to it.
Firstly, I'm very glad.
Secretariat building, I mean, are you comparing redoing a secretariat building? By that logic, Mamata Banerjee has created a new office for herself called Nabanna. By that logic, Arvind Kejriwal has constructed a new office for himself. I mean, the examples and the comparisons are not only odious, they are intellectually innocent.
How can it be hypocritical?
No, what's your question, Kartik Reddy?
KCR Garu's
is it the only responsibility of the BJP?
What's happened today?
My question,
may I address this question?
Okay, what's your point, Kartik Reddy? What's your point?
Yeah, okay. My point is, cultural renaissance cannot be responsibility of the union government itself.
All right, point taken. Shehzad Poonawala is answering that question that you have raised twice. Yes. Yes.
First of all, Navika, I am so glad that today the TRS spokesperson hasn't ventured to say my name, because the last time he got my name wrong, he got trolled pretty badly. But having said that, I completely agree. It is not just our responsibility. Well, it is the responsibility of everybody. And therefore, I ask of you, TRS, today to tell us that would you stand with those who belong to the legacy of Razakars and at the same time oppose the celebration of Hyderabad Liberation Day? We have taken the initiative to celebrate 17th of September as Hyderabad Liberation Day. If you don't stand with the legacy of Razakars and the legacy of the Nizam, today the TRS should declare on Navika's show that we wholeheartedly support Hyderabad Liberation Day. Now one second, Mr. Reddy.
What does this have to do with the cultural renaissance question?
You can't celebrate the cultural renaissance of Telangana and Hyderabad by standing in alliance with those who come from the legacy of the Razakars. So clearly you should dump the legacy of the Razakars and take a stand on Hyderabad Liberation Day. Point number one. Point number two. I am a little upset with Anand Ranganathan tonight.
Just a little?
Little upset. I'll tell you why. Anand Ranganathan should be having sympathy for those who would qualify to be, in terms of their loyalty, a butler to the Raj. Rather, they've been suspended from the party, even though they show same amount of loyalty. Today, look, they have not been able to remove the symbols of Ghulami from their own party, and you're telling them to accept that how we have liberated at least one symbol of Ghulami from this country. How can they appreciate it? But on a serious note, Suhel has traveled the world, and in every country of the world, and you have also traveled, Navika, the capital, especially those which are the democratic centers in those capitals, always have those vestiges that belong to the cultural and historic legacy of that country. India was the only democracy which had past legacies that were incongruent with the democratic centers of our country, and today that has been resurrected and restored. In fact, celebration should be done that finally our democratic centers, especially in the national capital, reflect the cultural and historical legacy of this country. But then there are some who will not celebrate National War Memorial, they will not celebrate Ram Janmabhoomi. And by that question, I also want to ask, did the TRS, when there was a Bhumi Pujan of Ram Janmabhoomi, were they celebrating it or were they opposing it?
Navika, I want to make a point.
Okay, Sanjay Jha.
We officially welcome
Navika, that question about Commonwealth.
Navika, let me just
Commonwealth question, I think the Prime Minister may have reached home and may have heard. Do you want Shehzad Poonawala to take a decision here?
Anand.
I'm not suspended from a party. I'm in suspended animation for the whole part of the debate. Let me just say to Mr. Reddy, with due respect, we are not witnessing a cultural renaissance today. So I don't know what you mean by a cultural renaissance. A cultural renaissance would be if Prime Minister Modi had unveiled a new dance form or a new literary form or obliterated the literature of India. Today, what we are seeing are three things. A redesign of the Central Vista. More importantly, a celebration of Netaji's contribution to India and India's freedom. And three, the celebration of Indianness by removing the vestiges of the British Raj. For you to call them cultural renaissance is a bit rich, because that would require something else. A. B, it's not a building that has been changed. It is an entire ethos. It's a think. It's a soch, as they would say in Hindi. Thank you. Now you can interrupt.
And that sets the record straight, and that's where I'd want to leave this entire issue, because you know, we can debate this issue till the cows come home. The question is, as some of us were told when we were growing up, you can't take a horse, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink it. So the question is that people will see the change, people will like the change, people of India seeing this change and liking it, but politics is politics. The opposition is duty bound to find fault, and if not find fault openly, then say it's nice but X, Y, Z. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's for politics when elections come up. The fact of the matter is, as the rest of India sees it today, this is a historic moment. It is an inflection point, not just about a name change, but a change in the thought process. And that's an idea that India likes to live with. Thank you very much to my panelists on debate number 1.